Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos and on this video afternoon I am going to give you a bit of team news building up to the Manchester City Manchester United game, 5:30 kickoff this Saturday. So just to give you the news regarding Anthony Martial. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has confirmed that Anthony Martial is doubtful for the game on Saturday. Solskjaer has described Anthony Martial's injury as slight. He did initially sustain the injury in the 2-2 draw with Aston Villa at the weekend. I think he's struggling to overcome some kind of muscular problem. Obviously, Anthony Martial didn't play against Tottenham yesterday. You can say he was a big miss. But yeah, so I don't actually know how severe the injury is, but Solskjaer did confirm that Anthony Martial will be out for a little while. Like I said, Anthony Martial is now into his fifth season as a Manchester United player. You've got to say he has done really well. I think he's played around 12 times, this season. Martial was initially out over hamstring injury. Obviously, he was out for a couple of months. But I think he's really good player, and we are all aware anyway, that he does had more inspiration in that attacking third of the pitch. Martial, of course, had been given that number 9 shirt at the start of the season, and like did say, he seems to be more effective in that central position. But it was actually Greenwood that was fulfilling Anthony Martial's role yesterday against Tottenham. I thought he did really well. Martial in total has scored 53 goals in 186 appearances in all competitions. But in the games he's played in so far this season, like I mentioned, he is replicating, what he did in his first season when he first got recommended into the football club. Because I thought it was absolutely tremendous in his first season under the Louis van Gaal era that was. And we did get him as a 19-year-old, and Martial, of course, now is only 23, so he has still got a lot of development in him. Obviously, for the vast majority of his Man United career, so far he's obviously played out wide, but this season, he has been mainly playing centrally, so he will not be, well, I'm very sceptical he's going to be playing against Man City, but obviously, we're going to know more, regarding the team news and all the rest of it, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, does his press conference tomorrow. So I am going to, give my reaction, to Solskjaer's press conference tomorrow. I'm obviously, going to say some of the things that he does obviously now mention. Regarding Paul Pogba, he's been out over an ankle injury as Paul Pogba. He hasn't played since September. Don't forget, there was reports emerging out last week saying that Paul Pogba, could have been back for the Tottenham game, but unfortunately, he didn't get that reunion with Jose Mourinho. Now, Solskjaer did say last week that he was defending Paul Pogba's professionalism. He also said obviously, when he does make his return back from injury, he will be like world-class signing, because Solskjaer knows deep down how much of an imperative player that Paul Pogba is. We know, obviously, the difference he does make in that midfield. Like I said, he's been out of an ankle injury, for a long time. Obviously, it confirmed quite a few weeks back, that he travelled to Amsterdam, obviously, to have his ankle cast removed, and obviously, that did confirm that he's closer to recovering from injury. But he's a big miss in that midfield, but he has got an ankle injury as Paul Pogba. But like I said, analysing the vast majority of his career with Man United, you've got to say he has been mainly inconsistent in comparison to his time, when he was at Juventus, because, like I did put into the equation, he enjoyed 4 fantastic years with Juventus, but he hasn't really replicated this at Man United. Like I said, we have seen glimpses of how good Paul Pogba can be. We mainly saw him in that 3-month period when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. In that 3-month period, he was in absolutely scintillating form. and he's arguably one of the best midfielders in the world when he's in that kind of form, and still only the age of 26, still in his prime. Still got a lot of development in him, but it shouldn't be long now, before Paul Pogba's back into the team. But I think he's also a doubt for the game against Man City. So I just want to confirm to you guys that Martial, I don't think we'll be playing against City. Neither will Paul Pogba. We've still got other injuries. Don't forget, obviously, Eric Bay is out with a knee injury. Diego Dalot's obviously out. So too is Fosu Mensah. So too is Matic. But they are all, of course, back in training, just like Paul Pogba. But it's good that obviously players are coming back from injury. I think also Rojo is still out with injury in that. But like I said, the question is, can Man United beat Man City in that? And obviously, I'm very, very sceptical that we're going to get anything from the game. But you never know. I know that obviously, Man City are strides ahead of us at the moment and that. And but I think if we can put a good performance out, I think we are capable of beating Man City. Like I said, on my reaction, to the 2-1 win against Tottenham, I think, we're capable of beating anybody on the day, if we do perform to our best. And I thought, analysing the game against Tottenham yesterday, I thought it was a very, very good performance from Manchester United. Solskjaer gave his overarching view on the game, and he was thrilled with the victory. He thinks it's the best performance of the season so far. But it's just a very, very good performance, especially Marcus Rashford. I thought he was absolutely fantastic, and Rashford's becoming more and more prolific. He's in scintillating form. Rashford has done well in his last 8 or 9 games. Rashford scored 9 goals in his last 10 games for the football club. He's been directly involved in 11 in total. And I know that I criticised Marcus Rashford earlier on in the season because, like I said on my reaction, he wasn't performing to the standards as we should expect from him and that. But now he's doing really, really well. So I'm glad he has rejuvenated himself. He was playing out on that flank yesterday. Rashford could have had at least a hat trick. Because obviously, he also hit the crossbar like I mentioned, and he had a few other chances. Took his first goal really, really well. That also came off the inside of the post. The second goal, obviously, was from a penalty. He had been brought down by Sissoko. But Solskjaer has praised Marcus Rashford. He said, he was playing in a playground. But yeah, he was absolutely fantastic. But there was a lot of good individual performances. I think, to be honest with you, everybody put a shift in. Daniel James, again, I thought had a fantastic game. And, I think he's been a revelation this season. And what I mean is I'm actually, shocked with the amount of games that he's played this season. Obviously when we signed him in the summer, I expected him to play games, but not as many games to the extent as he has done. And he deserves to keep his place in the team, reflecting on his impressive performances. And if he does keep these good performances up, Daniel James, then his valuation will persistently grow. He could have scored a couple of goals because he had a couple of chances in the second half, and Gazaniga, the Tottenham goalkeeper, had to produce quite a few world-class saves, definitely. But I've got to say, for 70 minutes at least, we was in total control. Lingard had chances as well. So basically, we had chances left, right and centre. So it's good that, we had a lot of chances. And, that's been an element of concern in the vast majority of our games this season. We have been struggling to create chances. We have been struggling to create chances in that. And this has been an explanation, why we haven't been scoring enough goals and stuff like that. But, we did really, really well yesterday. We also pressed very, very well. We controlled the midfield because I thought, the return of McTominay was very beneficial. He's just recovered from an ankle injury because McTominay did miss the last 3 games prior to the game yesterday. But you can see that the difference he does make in that midfield. And like I said regarding McTominay, he's deserved to keep his place in the team this season, reflecting on his impressive performances. So you've also got to say he's been a revelation. Don't get me wrong, I've still got element of concerns about our midfield. midfield, and regardless of whether Paul Pogba stays or goes anywhere, we've still got to address that midfield, because that's one of the priority areas where we do need to strengthen up. And obviously, McTominay's not a world-class midfielder. Fred's not a world-class midfielder. But as years go on and as they develop more, can they emulate into two Galactico midfielders? And that is the question. But I still don't know if McTominay is a long-term solution for the club. Fred, he had a really, really good game yesterday. And I think Fred and McTominay do seem to complement each other in our midfield well. I know Fred's had bad games this season. Again, I've more or less got the same perception of Fred of what I've got of McTominay. Do I think Fred is the long-term solution for Man United? And we did overpay for him. I will agree on that aspect in that, but we've overpaid for our players, especially in recent years anyway. But we paid £50 million for him from Shakhtar Donetsk. But I would, from my perception, I would still give Fred more time at the club. Because obviously, like I said, with Scott McTominay's absence, we had to go with midfield Vandris Pereira and Fred, and obviously a lot of Man United fans had a lot of reservations about that, and a lot of Man United fans do feel as though now that Andres Pereira is finished at the football club. He's exceeding expectations at Man United. He's had a lot of bad games this season as Andres Pereira. He obviously didn't start yesterday, but he did come on in the second half. But yeah, I think he probably does need to be moved on. Like I said, Mason Greenwood had a really, really good game. That was his first start from the start in the Premier League. First game he started from the start in the league. It was good to see him play. And I do believe he's one of the young upcoming players that's going to become a success at the football club. I thought defensively we did well yesterday as well. I thought Lindelof did really, really well at the back. So yeah, I was very, very delighted with the performance, and I was very, very delighted with it. And obviously, the victory puts us up now to 6th in the league. We have overtaken Tottenham. We still do remain 8 points behind Chelsea. I still believe it's going to be extremely difficult for us to get into that top 4. And like I did say, I'm very, very sceptical, that we're going to get that top 4 this season. That, I don't see happening. Like I've spoken to you guys on recent videos, I think our only route to Champions League football this season is progressing in the Europa League. And the positive is that, we are into the knockout stages of the Europa League. But even though we've enjoyed a disastrous start to the season and that, I still believe we are capable of winning the Europa League, because don't forget we did it back under the Jose Mourinho era back in 2017. But yeah, we've now won 5 games in the league this season out of 15. We've registered 21 points from 15 games, and we know that's still nowhere near good enough to our standards. But I was very, very surprised, reflecting on the result yesterday. I didn't expect us to beat Tottenham. I didn't expect us to get anything from them. I didn't expect any of it whatsoever. Taking into account as well, Tottenham have rejuvenated themselves, since Jose Mourinho, took over. And even Jose Mourinho admitted in his post-match reaction, that we controlled the game for 70 minutes. But that's obviously Jose Mourinho's first defeat, as a Spurs manager, and he's obviously as a Spurs manager in that. I would have presumed, that he would have got a good reception in that, Mourinho, like I mentioned on my match reaction, because obviously, Solskjaer mentioned this in his press conference prior to the game. But, like I said, Jose Mourinho enjoyed a 2.5-year tenure at Man United. Obviously, he won the Europa League and the League Cup in his first season with the football club. But I did give the variety of reasons why his 2.5-year tenure didn't work out for him at Man United. And a lot of Man United fans will believe that maybe it was a mistake from us getting rid of Jose Mourinho. But we've made a lot of mistakes in the last 6 or 7 years. But I don't think, we should have got rid of Jose Mourinho and that. But I said, he had bad disputes with the board, didn't he? He had bad disputes with the top player, especially Paul Pogba. top players, especially Paul Pogba. The board weren't backing his signings that I wanted to recommend into the football club last summer. So these are the reasons it didn't work out under him. But he's still a very, very good manager, Mourinho. He's got a good pedigree behind him. So far, he's won 25 major honours in his managerial career. He's I thought he also did very, very well at Chelsea. He didn't replicate Man United, what he did do with Chelsea in that. He did win the two trophies in that, but I thought he was better at Chelsea because at Chelsea, he won 3 Premier League titles and the FA Cup. He obviously had 2 separate spells with Chelsea. He also won the Champions League with Porto in Inter Milan, But maybe you could say as well, maybe we should have recommended Jose Mourinho in at an earlier point. We could have arguably say, we should have got him in after Alex Ferguson's retirement back in 2013. But you've got to say, on the result against Tottenham yesterday, like I said in my match reaction, you've got to say that's arguably saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure at the football club, at least for this present time. Because I think if we'd have lost yesterday, or even if we'd have drawn yesterday, you've got to say, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have been sacked by next week. Because, he's obviously, been under intense pressure at the football club. And I think he realises, how much pressure, he has been under. But I think now, reflect on that result, maybe not full of the pressure's eased off him, but I think, quite a lot of pressure, would have eased off him. But obviously, if we had to drop points again, then obviously, the pressure, will mount back up on Solskjaer. And I think, Solskjaer is aware of this. But, there was reports emerging out before the game against Tottenham, saying that obviously Solskjaer allegedly told our players if we lost to Tottenham yesterday, if we lose to Man City this weekend, then he says he will be sacked. But I still don't think Solskjaer does fear the sack and that, and definitely I think McTominay will be playing at the weekend against Man City because Solskjaer's obviously confirmed that he's undroppable. I think he's obviously there's a few players where he's confirmed that are obviously undroppable. He means obviously hard not to play with how obviously good they have been in that. But like I said, this is going to be a very, very tough game against Man City at the Etihad. Like I said, City are sitting third in the league. They are 11 points behind Liverpool, so I'm very, very sceptical, that Man City are going to win the league this season. I think, Liverpool are going to win it. Man City, of course, are looking to win their 3rd Premier League title in a row. Obviously, the last team to win 3 back-to-back titles was actually, us back in 2007, 2008 and 2009 and that. And City, have already lost 3 games this season. And they've also drawn quite a few. They lost to Wolves at the Etihad. They lost to Norwich early on in the season. They got thrashed at Liverpool. They dropped points against Newcastle at the weekend. And all that. So they have dropped points this season, but they did win comfortably against Burnley earlier on this week, did Man City. But, if I was probably Man City, will win the game and that, because like I said, they are much better than us. Like I said, City, won an English domestic treble last season, so obviously, they matched my club's greatest achievement back in 1999. The only difference is, it wasn't an English domestic treble, but Man City, still won it last season. City obviously, of course, are the only Premier League club, to register 100 points in one single Premier League season. They did that a couple of years ago. And like I said, Pep Guardiola is a really, really good manager. His philosophy, is right at Man City. He's spent a hell of a lot of money at Man City in that. I think he spent over £1 billion in total in all his managerial career so far. But obviously the vast majority of that £1 billion has obviously been spent at Man City. So I just wanted to take that into account. But Man City have got a lot of good players. They've obviously got a few injuries now as we speak. I think they've had Aguero out with a thigh injury. They've got Laporte out. They've got Leroy Sané out. But they've still got a lot of good players in that. But it's going to be an extremely difficult game. This game last season at the Etihad was 3-1 to Manchester City. The game at Old Trafford, of course, was 2-0 to Man City. So, Man City have obviously had better of us, in the last 2 to 3 years at least. But I think on the day, we are capable of definitely beating them. But I think if we can replicate the performance, that we showed there yesterday against Tottenham, then I definitely think, we can get something against Man City without a shadow of a doubt. But these, like I said on my reaction, there has been games this season, where we have, played well and that, and like Solskjaer was recently saying, obviously he feels as though we've drawn too many games, and maybe in some of them draws, we should have made them into wins and that, and he's also said, we've lost obviously, quite a few games and that, but pinpoint some games that where we've done well this season. I thought. We was very, very good against Liverpool. We drew the game, and that was a good draw because we're the only team so far this season to take out from Liverpool in the Premier League. And we arguably should have won the game against Liverpool. I thought we did really, really well against Norwich and won 3-1 away. We had a good game against Brighton before the international break. You could say we should have definitely won the game against Crystal Palace at home earlier on in the season when we lost 2-1. Arguably, we should have won at Wolves away. I think we should have even won at Sheffield United away. I know we was poor for 80 minutes against Sheffield United, but we showed good determination, to come back from 2-0 down, to bring it back to 3-2 and that. And in that, we was on course of winning our first game in the league this season, obviously, from a losing position, but obviously, didn't happen. We conceded in stoppage time, so we should have actually, beat Sheffield United. So these games this season, that Man United should have arguably, won. Yeah, these games this season, that we should have won, and there's still quite, a lot of aspects of our game anyway that I do need to improve in that, and I've got to say, Solskjaer, I credit him there's some aspects of me, that do credit him. I think in some games this season, we have showed a lot of tactical flexibility, and I thought Solskjaer tactically got it spot on against Tottenham and that. He went with a 4-2-3-1 formation. He's been going with that formation on a regular basis this season as Solskjaer. He was actually considering, going with three at the back against Tottenham, but obviously, decided to stick with a 4-2-3-1 formation. He's tried a few different formations. Like I said, he went with three at the back against Sheffield United. He went with three at the back against Partizan Belgrade in the 1-0 win in the Europa League. He went with three at the back, of course, against Liverpool. And like I said, that formation seems to be working out. On the odd occasion, I think he's gone with a 4-3-3. But I've got to say, for the vast majority of this season, Solskjaer has been tactically naive. Obviously, one good result or a couple of good results, like I said, doesn't change my perception regarding Solskjaer. I still don't think he's the right manager to elevate Manchester United forward. And even if we were to beat Man City at the weekend, and that, I still wouldn't think Solskjaer is the right manager for Man United. And, there's obviously, we've had good periods in that because, reflecting back, before the Sheffield United game, this was before that international break, we'd won 5 of our last 6 games in our competition. So in that period, we was in a good run of form. And then obviously, before the Tottenham game, it was back to square one. And this is what seems to be keep happening. We seem to win quite a few games, and then, we seem to draw games or lose games. And that's, what seems to be, that's what seems to keep happening. But we've just got to try now and win as many games as possible. But I still don't think it's the long-term solution for Man United. But I think taking into account that 2-1 win against Tottenham yesterday, is going to change a lot of things, especially regarding our stance on Solskjaer. I think probably Solskjaer now will be here at least until January. Could still be here until the end of the season and that, but I can definitely assure that he will not see out his 3-year contract at Man United, because obviously, Solskjaer had been given him a 3-year contract when he had been given the job in March earlier on this year. And that was one of the mistakes the football club did make, was obviously, giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job. We should have never given him the job. And obviously, if we do sack Solskjaer, obviously, we'll have to obviously pay a substantial amount, to get rid of him. I presume we probably wouldn't have to pay as much, to get rid of Solskjaer than what we had to do, to get rid of Jose Mourinho and that. But, I think Ed Woodward is still Ed Woodward.
Charlie,
What?
the damn arseholes ring you for not attending your assessment.
No.
No, fuck their assessments.
Mm. But Ed Woodward is determined, to stand by Mulligan and Solskjaer and all that.
Couple more weekend coming off that job site because it's fucking shit.
Sorry guys about that. I just went to the toilet and all that, so I do apologise for the long wait. But like I said, Ed Woodward is still determined to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. He did say if the inconsistency, was to continue to persist, then he would sack Mulligan and Solskjaer. But not all the blame stems from Solskjaer anywhere, due to our inconsistency for the vast majority of the season. I think, everyone does need to take the blame. I think the board are mainly to blame because they've been a liability for several years. I do believe Ed Woodward's also to blame, so I think he's also accountable for it. So he replicates the board, and I think we need to get rid of Ed Woodward. We need to get rid of the board. I still believe there's more problematic players there at Man United that do need to be moved on. So I think we need to get rid of another 4, 5, maybe even 6 more players next year, despite the fact that a lot of players have left since Mulligan and Solskjaer's arrival. So we still need to see a variety of changes at the football club, definitely. But it is good, that Solskjaer is making plans for January and that. Obviously, a massive rebuild is needed at the football club, and it's very imperative next year that we do get the right calibre players to the football club. So obviously, they can elevate us forward. And we've got to address the deficiencies in the squad. We've definitely got to get an attacking midfielder in. We've also got to get a defensive midfielder in. We definitely need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. We also need to get a couple of attackers in. We need to get a replacement for Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez, because you can say since their departures, we've looked very exposed in that attacking line. Maybe also where we do need a right winner in that. Yes. But yeah, massive rebuild is needed at the football club, definitely. I was reading reports the other week, and it did say we're going to get around £200 million to spend next year, 100 million in January, 200 million next summer. Is that enough though to address the deficiencies in the squad? Is it enough for us to bring the right number of players in? But obviously, like I said, my element of concern with us not being in Champions League football, it's going to be hard for us, to attract players to the elite level. So I just wanted to take that into account and that. But we got three good players in the summer, and I credit Solskjaer for that. He did recommend 3 good players to the squad during the summer, and you can say they've been our best players. We spent nearly £150 million on them, and they've all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers. But I've got to say, from my own perception, I think we need at least 5 to 6 more signings if we are to be back to being a competitive league level football club. And of course, if we are to be back up there challenging for major honours, and if we are, to be back being future title contenders. But, Scholes recently came out, he says, that, we shouldn't sack Solskjaer. He needs around 3 to 4 more windows, to turn the fortunes around. Neville says, we need to sign at least 2 players in January and that. But Solskjaer, has actually, urged our board and Ed Woodward, to get transfers done quickly in that. But Solskjaer is aware, that more signings are needed, and there's a lot of players on our agenda, who could come into the football club next year. But it is not long now anywhere until the January transfer window opens. But, definitely our recruitment has got to improve. Obviously, like I said, guys, we know there's been a hell of a lot of narratives in the mainstream media going on about, Mauricio Pochettino becoming Manchester United's next manager. Obviously, there was a lot of reports coming out before the game against Tottenham saying that Mauricio Pochettino wants to become Man United's next manager. Mauricio Pochettino initially wanted to take the managerial role at the club after the dismissal of Jose Mourinho in December of last year and that. But obviously, our preference was Solskjaer because obviously we saw that Solskjaer was a cheaper solution. Solskjaer knows the traditions and that in the club. So these are a couple of reasons why our preference there was Solskjaer. And take into account as well, he did really, really well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. He won his first 8 games. Then he went on to win 14 out of 19 in total. But at the time, we went in for Pochettino before. We would have had to pay like around £32 million in compensation. I'm very, very adamant now we wouldn't have to pay out to recommend him in. As you know, Mauricio Pochettino is managerless, but I do believe he would be the right candidate for Man United. Would Pochettino definitely. He would be the right candidate for the football club. I think he's totally comparison to Solskjaer. I think he's a better manager than Solskjaer. is Pochettino. He's obviously no more experienced. My only element of concern I've got about Micho Pochettino is that he hasn't won out in terms of silverware, but prior to that, very very good manager, good at developing young players. But there isn't only Man United that have been in there for him. He's been linked with quite a few managerial roles. There's been talks about him going to Arsenal. I'm very sceptical about him going to Arsenal. Mauricio Pochettino recently got advised by his friends to turn down the Arsenal job. He wants an immediate return to management, definitely. I don't think he'll be managers for long. He held talks with Bayern Munich, I think, a couple of weeks ago. There's also been talks about him going to Real Madrid. Don't forget when Zinedine Zidane resigned as Real Madrid manager, I think he was like manager for 9 months. Then obviously went back into the Real Madrid job, but in that 9 month period, Real Madrid were in for Mauricio Pochettino. But he enjoyed 5 great years with Tottenham. Like I said, he didn't win out in terms of silverware, but he progressed them to, the Champions League final last season. He also got them to a couple of third place finishes. Also, got them to the League Cup final in his first full season. He also had a great short tenure with Southampton before. He obviously, before that, he was at Espanyol. So he's managed 3 clubs so far, and he started his managerial career in 2009. So Mauricio Pochettino has been managing for just over 10 years. But if Solskjaer is to be sacked, then it is very, very imminent, that Mauricio Pochettino will definitely be our next manager in that. But, the time after the Mourinho sacking, he was our primary candidate. But he recently revealed that he wants to come to Man United. I still believe that, clubs that are in for him would have to hold negotiations with Daniel Levy, even though he's not at Tottenham now. And don't forget, Daniel Levy is a hard negotiator. So, obviously there's still a lot of speculation going on regarding Massimiliano Allegri. Don't forget, at one point, he was my primary candidate to replace Solskjaer. Like I said, my preference would be Pochettino over Massimiliano Allegri. Obviously, even though Massimiliano Allegri's won stuff, obviously the vast majority of his silverware he won, obviously, came at Juventus and that. And obviously, though, Michel Pochettino's well Premier League proven. Massimiliano Allegri has never managed in the Premier League. He's actually so far spent the entirety of his managerial career in the Serie A. Obviously emulated himself up over the years, and he resigned as Juventus manager at the end of last season. Like I said, so he's been manager since the end of last season. Massimiliano Allegri also spent the entirety of his playing career in the Serie A, but he did say not too long ago he was learning English in preparation for his potential move. But he still says, he's indicated doubt that he's still interested in taking the mantle on at Man United. But also, don't forget Arsenal are in there for him. There was reports emerging out as well just before the game against Tottenham regarding Gareth Southgate. Now it says that we're considering Gareth Southgate, to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Man United. My opinion on that is I don't think he would be the right candidate for the football club. Gareth Southgate, hasn't really got that experience. What I mean is, not managing clubs really. He's only managed one team at club level, and that is Middlesbrough. You can't take away what he's done for England though. He managed England under 21s for quite a few years. His Southgate. Obviously now he's managing the senior team. Don't forget he did progress England to the World Cup semi-final in the summer of 2018. Did Gareth Southgate. Obviously during his playing career, Southgate played for Crystal Palace, where he won the Football League First Division Championship. He also won the League Cup with Middlesbrough. He also won the League Cup with Aston Villa. So he's another manager on our agenda in that. But I do believe anyway, we will stick with Solskjaer for the time being in that. Definitely. But for me, Solskjaer just doesn't have any intuition on how to manage, especially a big football club like Man United and that, because he hasn't really got a pedigree behind him, and that doesn't mean he won't succeed at Man United and that. I'm not saying that, and I hope somewhere shape or form that his managerial tenure can, turn around Man United. I want his managerial tenure, to become successful, because Solskjaer's was a great servant to the football club, and that he was a great player for us for 11 years and that. But I'm just very, very sceptical about it. And, definitely, Solskjaer can't invoke Ferguson's legacy to save him at Man United. But regardless who our manager is anyway, they'll never, replicate, what Ferguson did. I don't think we'll ever achieve, again, what we achieved under Alex Ferguson. And that's obviously, something we have got to accept in that. But, I haven't, to be honest with you, really seen many improvements under Solskjaer prior to the 3 months, and prior to the odd periods we've had where we've done well. Of what I saw under Mourinho, Louis Van Gaal, and of course David Moyes. And we don't want to persistently keep sacking managers and recommending new managers in. Because we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers and that. So, like I said, I'm going to give you my preview for the Man City Man United game. It probably will be, it may be tonight. If it isn't tonight, it will be tomorrow. My preview for the Man City Man United game. I'm also going to give you my press conference reaction tomorrow as well. So I just wanted to take that into account. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.